Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wrestleview Post Raw, the night after WrestleMania, which should be our biggest Raw show of the year.
In theory.
In theory. Of course, best laid plans always go awry. Well, at least we are having the show this year so far.
Yeah, that's true.
Post Raw number 122 or 123 in the anniversary of last year.
True.
I'm Mike Tedesco, the editor-in-chief of Wrestleview.com.
And I'm Victoria Tedesco.
Again, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us, everybody. It's the Raw after WrestleMania. It's normally a big deal.
Ooh.
And there were some things that happened on tonight's show, you know, following WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was a long week of wrestling. And we still have one more show tomorrow. We have NXT tomorrow.
Yes.
But, you know, you think after what was resoundingly considered a negative for last night's WrestleMania, just overall,
In general,
it got thumbs
yeah.
down. Like, even like the main event, it was a really, really good main event. It was an excellent main event, even. But there was just way too much interference. There was just too much with the heels going over. It's like we have a live crowd here. We want to hear we want to hear just a big pop. We want to, you know, as the fans have a feel good moment. They didn't really give you much in terms of that. It's almost like night one should have happened on night two, and they should have just switched the cards. But even that would be terrible too, because then it'd be the very first time you have a crowd there, and you're killing them with heel victories and stuff like that. But whatever, it happened. So you would think like tonight would be the night. Let's just have a blowout show. Let's get some surprises in there. Let's have some special matches.
Yeah, let's put in the works, you know, let's give everybody a show.
Yeah, let's kind of, you know, get the new year started off right, because now we are at the beginning of the WWE year again.
Right.
WrestleMania is kind of like the culmination of the year, and then it's a restart. And we did have a restart in some cases.
In some cases, for sure.
But not enough.
Just didn't feel... Well, we struggled with this last week. I know for me, on Monday, it didn't really feel like WrestleMania week. And then one night one happened, it turned it around. You know, I felt excited. You know, the crowd was there. And then I got that WrestleMania vibe, you know, the first night. But then the second night, like, oh, no, definitely not. And like you and Doug talked about that in length, you know, last night about how it just didn't feel like a WrestleMania. And to be honest with you, even the audience's reception and the fans' reception of it, they felt the same way. You know, a good majority felt that way about it. Tonight was one of those nights again where you felt like that lackluster, just overall, it didn't feel like the Raw after WrestleMania. Because again, in theory, it should be like a really big Raw. You think about even when we were in 2013, right?
Oh, yeah.
Just that we were there the next day. And we felt like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, like, we're here. It's WrestleMania. And yeah, okay, granted, we were there in person. It's a different experience. But it just didn't feel it. And I'm not even saying because of COVID. It just didn't feel like it.
Yeah, the energy level was, like, kind of missing here. And, well, you know, like, Raw after WrestleMania, you expect surprises and stuff like that. So if you were, like, sitting around waiting for, like, big surprises... They kind of knocked all that out in like the first half hour of the show, and then after that, it was like, okay, those are all the ideas that we had, and let's just now we just have to fill up another 2.5 hours.
I feel like they didn't really plan it right. Where
they never plan. They plan. They don't plan for anything on the show.
But I feel like they, you know, they had solid.
Every booking sin came out at WrestleMania.
But the first night really felt like there was something special about it. And, granted, it wasn't the greatest, obviously, WrestleMania of all time. However, it was a good enough where it felt like, okay, I could consider some of these matches and some of the things that kind of transpired WrestleMania moments, you know?
Yes.
But then it just died the next day, and you're like, ooh. And if you kind of average it out, it didn't really feel like,
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So we'll talk all about this stuff coming up. But first, we want to say hello to our people in the chat room. And we want to thank everybody for helping to make this weekend for Wrestleview was really great, especially for
was
like
historical for us.
It was historical for us. It really was for our Wrestleview video channel here on YouTube. Night one of WrestleMania did the highest number of views on a live stream podcast that we've ever done. So we have to say thank you for that. Everybody that's that joins us every week. You've been there with us as we've been climbing, and it's like that was just awesome to get texts from Roy the next day, and then Victoria was texting me as well. I mean, I was out and I work in the morning on Sundays. And saying like, wow, like, did you see the numbers on that first show?
It's crazy.
And then mine and Doug's show last night, also up in the top 3 of podcasts that we've ever done. Like, incredible. So we have to say thank you for that. And everybody's just been on the ride from the beginning with us. So that's pretty damn cool.
Well, you know what it is? I do want to thank the individuals who have been here from the beginning, because they really have been the ones that drove this show to where it is right now. And of course, thank you to anybody new who viewed our shows this weekend. We do appreciate you as well.
Yeah, new viewers, absolutely.
It's just nice to have a good reception. You know what I mean? We love doing it.
We love doing it. We work hard doing it. I think we have a passion for it. I think
so.
That passion is demonstrated.
I think so.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. All right, let's say hello to everybody. I know we have I Am Alpha here talking about how Hogan and the Bellas got booed last night. Quentin Walters here, our number one fan. If I was in a wrestling coma, then I was in a deep, deep, deep coma. There's a lot of stuff going on. Daniel Schill, good Monday evening, Tedesco's. Andrew Elder is here, the WrestleView fiend. We have Uncle Billy Hefner, who does so much to promote our show.
Yes.
We have Jorge Oliva here. Hola Familia Tedesco. Mania was great thanks to the fans. That being said, do you think they will make the next Drew Lashley match an I Quit or Last Man Standing match? I don't know. I feel like they have to do something with it.
Yeah.
But I'm not really I'm not really sure what.
It's not out of the realm of possibility, that's for sure.
Daniel Shell saying night 1 was an A, night 2 was a C. I would say that's accurate. Yeah. The structure was a D-, but overall the effort and you factor in some high quality efforts from the individuals and that main event. Yeah, it can bump it up to a C. Can definitely bump it up to a C. Nafis Sadat, our brother, our friend is here. 'Twas good shit. That's what he says. All right. And if I didn't get you yet, if I missed you, Tyler Upson's here, of course. Tyler Upson. If I missed anybody, just say hello and I'll make sure that we say hi back. All right. So let's get into this Raw. So I have to say Tom Phillips is one of the most abused talents on the roster by far. He had the SmackDown job before they moved to Fox.
Yep.
And then he was bumped off of television altogether. They had him fly overseas to be part of NXT UK. It's like, yeah, that's what he wants to be doing, I'm sure. And then, when Vic Joseph and Jerry Lawler and Mace or Dio Madden didn't work out, they had Tom Phillips come in there and kind of pick up the pieces, and he was great.
And he
was really good.
He was
for the time he was there. He has a professional voice. It's like, Michael Cole obviously is the face of the commentary division. And he is the voice of WWE, no question.
Absolutely.
But Tom Phillips is like right there, right underneath Michael Cole. In fact, I thought sometimes he's better. He's a steady hand. He's got a good voice. He knows the product. He knows the moves. They replaced him with this guy, Adnan Virk, former ESPN guy, got fired from ESPN. He was working, I believe he was working for The Score on TSN in Canada.
I think that's what they said.
And they scooped him up, and now he is, for whatever reason, the voice.
Why was he fired, by the way? Do you know? Do you happen to
leaking information about ESPN to the media?
Okay.
ESPN's like
gotcha.
It's a mess.
Yeah.
And
gotcha.
So they have this guy Adnan Virk. We got Torfa Quembe in the chat room tonight. So they have Adnan Virk out there. He said that he was a fan as a kid, and he certainly, worked in excellence of execution tonight because he's a Bret Hart fan, I suppose. But I had some real Mike Adamle vibes tonight. He didn't really seem to know the product. He didn't really seem to know the people in the ring. I think at one point he called Rhea Ripley Bailey at one point. He just seemed confused. His voice it's the kind of voice I have a feeling like Vince McMahon's going to grow real tired of real quick. I don't see a long future for Mr. Verk here.
I think that what was interesting about him, when you told me that he was from the MLB initially, he's working for MLB Network. Yeah. I could see that. You know what I mean? I could totally see that. Like when I hear him speak, he's got a baseball voice. Because obviously, I'm not saying because we love baseball, but it's not the most. It could be very, just what?
Goosey goes Adnan Vertiferk. Go on.
That's why I need to have the chat in there because I have to you guys are funny.
That was good.
I kid. That was really funny. But obviously baseball's very formulaic where, it's a set, things happen, had 9 innings, that home runs. Yeah. You get excited and whatever, but at the end of the day, strike, ball, whatever, he has that voice. I could see that. This was kind of you need to know, and you need to know the product. That's really key. You really have to have a love for wrestling, sports entertainment, because it adds. You don't realize you're adding to. Let's put it this way: when you're watching a baseball game, really the commentators are not really adding anything. They're just they're kind of recapping, and they're good for radio, obviously, because you get to hear them,
right?
But what's going on, but they're not really adding much.
You want a cup over?
Yeah, but otherwise, it's you know what I mean? They're not adding anything. But with sports entertainment, wrestling, you're part of it.
Right.
You have to
especially when there's no fans there, the commentators are really relied upon to let you know.
100%.
I mean, yes, the person pressing the cheer and boo buttons are also, letting you know kind of what's going on. But the commentators are supposed to get over the story.
Yeah.
And let you know when things are getting excited and tense and heated, and when something, the show wants something to be portrayed as a surprise. His voice, even when he was getting excited, just sounded like, I don't know. It sounded like, somebody was commentating on the PGA Masters. It's like, yes, here comes Tiger Woods here. And he's lining up the putt. Here he goes, and he gets the putt. Yeah. And he gets the putt, everybody. Yeah. Okay. And the crowd is going wild. It's like, there wasn't much there. I wasn't impressed. I don't understand what was the rush to replace Tom Phillips so quickly. I know there was something about COVID protocol and whatever, but he's the commentator now for 205 Live, and he's also the vice president of on-air talent or something like that. But I don't understand why it was so imperative tonight. We had to because we're gonna do a total reset of Monday Night Raw. Really, they didn't at all. And we got to get a new voice on there. It's like, how about a guy who's never commentated on wrestling before and just throw him to the wolves? I actually got real strong vibes of Mike Adamle, but also that night when Brock Lesnar beat up Michael Cole and all the announcers. I think Booker T was in there too, and. Byron Saxton, remember that? He was sent out there and just stood by himself for an hour and floundered. Byron Saxton, who'd never commentated before, absolutely floundered that they had to send Jerry the King Lawler out there to help him out.
Gosh, it's not easy either.
It's not an easy task because you have people in your ear telling you what to say, and a product that you're not entirely familiar with. What would have been so bad about okay, we hired this guy. Have him backstage just doing observing, watching, doing sample, commentary and stuff like that, and get him, TV ready instead of just throwing him to the wolves, because you only get one chance to make a first impression, and this first impression sucked. He was terrible, and it's now I have to listen to this fucking guy every Monday on top of the dull product that we have to watch week in and week out, or sometimes the inane asinine product that we have to watch week in and week out.
I feel like Tom Phillips really just...
Tom Phillips is like, good, you take the Fiend. Enjoy. And Daniel Schell is absolutely, yeah. Can we throw Matt Vasgersian on SmackDown? Actually, Matt Vasgersian, I think, would be a great commentator. I think he would if he didn't have such a bad experience with the XFL in 2001 when Vince McMahon treated him like he was a total nobody. Yeah, I do think Matt Vasgersian would be totally awesome if he didn't have hatred towards Vince McMahon.
I just want to laugh at Tom Phillips every time I hear about him. I think he just...
I know
that incident.
So
is hilarious.
so we have Torfa Quembe here. We have I mentioned Tyler Upson before, but we are graced with the presence of our esteemed colleague from Saturday night, the highest viewed Wrestleview podcast that we've ever done. Mr. Roy Nemmer is in the chat room.
I really enjoyed talking with Roy on Saturday.
Roy's awesome.
I really did. Honestly, we had a very good, all of us had a very good conversation. Like, it just felt like, friends in the living room talking about wrestling,
Well, two of us are in the living room and.
All right. Yeah. Well, you know what I mean.
John L. Jackson. We say hello to John L. Jackson. So yes. It was great. Roy was so much fun to talk to. And that guy knows his stuff. And if you're not watching the SmackDown post show on Friday night, you're missing out by far. All right. So let's get into this show. We go in. So this is their first time at the new ThunderDome as well. So they kind of changed the look of the show a little bit too. They have some of the fans on the stage now while they're making their entrance, which I thought was actually a good move. Adds a little more flair to it.
Oh, absolutely.
They're at the Yuengling Center now. The Yuengling Center. The show opens up with Bobby Lashley walking into the new ThunderDome and Riddle coming up on the scooter and saying, he wants to challenge Bobby Lashley. So Lashley shoves him and says, you're a loser, and I'll show you why I'm a winner. They go into the ThunderDome. We're introduced to Adnan Mike Adamley Verk. And, we have Mr. V in the chat room tonight as well. Mr. V. All right. And so the show opens up with WWE Champion Bobby Lashley facing Riddle, the former United States Champion.
Yep.
Interesting that almost everybody who won a title wasn't on the show tonight. Rhea Ripley was the only one that was on the show that won a title at WrestleMania, but no AJ Styles and Omos, the new Raw Tag Team Champions, and no Sheamus,
very interesting,
the United States Champion. And I was like, okay, well, whatever. But we got Retribution. So we have Bobby Lashley facing Riddle to kick the night off, and essentially for 2 segments, Lashley just kicked the ever-loving piss out of Riddle.
Yes.
Destroyed him. Riddle mounted the tiniest comeback of all time and then got put right in the hurt lock. Submission. It's over. Riddle continues to be a goof and Bobby Lashley continues to be dominating champion. We have 2 of them. One on Raw, one on SmackDown. Vince must be on his big guy craze again because that's what we're getting right now.
That's what we're getting. You know what though, honestly.
Kill the little guys and the big guys, we got to go.
Honestly, though, with Lashley, how do I put this? I feel like it was actually a good move. I would have loved to see Drew McIntyre continue, to get the title back. I would have, just because, again, personally for Drew McIntyre. But this whole, viciousness in Lashley and this dominant, appeal, I really like that I like that they're showcasing him as a powerhouse.
Yeah.
You said, in your tweet before, just because I do feel, somebody like Riddle, he should be just having a beatdown. And in the one, I don't know who it was.
He's not on his level.
Yeah. I don't know who it was on commentary. I feel like
they
it
all
wasn't.
sound the same. And Corey Graves was there too. So they switched Corey Graves to the show.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, maybe he can bring some heel flair to the show, because like if you have a 3-man booth and everybody's a face, it's kind of boring.
Yes, absolutely.
Like Corey Graves should have been but he was trying to carry Adnan Verk through this thing.
Yeah, because I feel like he said
so he couldn't even do what he does best, which is kind of heel on people.
I feel like it was him. Somebody was saying how I forget which one, but it did make a good point about how this was more to tell. No, it was to tell Riddle that, like, because he could easily just beat up Riddle in 2 seconds, realistically, right? But he was just toying with him because he stepped up to him in the beginning of the night, and
He wanted to
again,
make a
like,
point that you're a
taunting
loser.
him. Yeah, exactly. So, I think that was actually a good thing to mention, that it didn't need to go as long as it did, but he was doing it for just to make a point.
Right. So that's how we opened up the show. Right after that, we have Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. No longer part of the Hurt Business. They are just done with the Hurt Business now, and they're just a tag team. Just a tag team of guys.
So stupid.
Just two dudes teaming up.
It was really stupid of that move for them to make.
Well, and we'll talk.
And then we'll talk more about that. Why that was even more stupid.
And they're greeted by the Viking Raiders. So Ivar is back from his neck surgery, and Eric, who was also nursing an injury, they're both back. I was super happy to see Ivar back, because I thought that was so crummy, the suicide dive that everybody does week in and week out finally came back to bite somebody.
Yeah.
And it's like, of course, but we just keep it going anyway. we just keep the suicide dives going. And the worst part about it was that he hit it clean. There was nothing wrong with it. It's just the landing. Like, that impact really screwed up his neck. He couldn't even move after that.
Those neck injuries really scare me, I gotta tell you. They're career-ending and life-threatening. It's like...
Absolutely.
Ooh,
you don't want to mess with the neck.
No.
So, the suicide dive, I hope he doesn't go back. If he does go back to doing it, I hope that it's just in big matches.
Yeah.
Because everybody needs to have like a big match move set. Stuff that you shouldn't be seeing the entire arsenal every Monday on Raw or every Friday on SmackDown.
Definitely
you should
not.
just there should be some. Otherwise every match is the same.
Yeah.
And nothing special.
Well, then that's been happening. Let's face it. That hasn't been necessarily something that hasn't been happening, but it was really nice to see them come back. It really was.
Well, the tag team division needs a little bit of a boost, and actually, I'd love to see like Omos, see him like manhandle these two guys and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But it was good. They looked good. The Viking Raiders, they had a quick match against Cedric and Shelton, beat them pretty good, and that was the end of that. So good to see them back. But wow, like they're not even going to try to pretend like they had an idea for Cedric and Shelton. It's just like, well, they're just back to being two job guys, and that's the end of that.
We'll talk more about it, but it's really the lack of logic. Really, it gets to me sometimes. It really does. Mm-hmm. It really, really does. It drives me crazy how common sense is just not there within this company.
They don't plan. They just like, oh, that idea sounds good, and then they have no plans for the future. I'm really hoping now that they're it's the new season premiere of Raw. In a sense, the year is beginning again. That I hope that they've mapped at least something out to WrestleMania Backlash.
Who knows?
That would be about 4 weeks of television right there, just kind of mapped out, so we could get there. In a logical, clean fashion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think they're still booking week in, week out.
Yeah.
And it's a mess, and it shows.
It does.
And it's like, well, we'll do that finish tonight, and we'll explain our way out of it next week. That's not how you should be running your TV show.
Definitely not. Nope.
Anyway.
Anywho.
We have the return of Charlotte Flair. And, she says, the night after WrestleMania, I should be standing here talking about what I did at WrestleMania. Instead, I was left off. I had to watch the show from home. Was it my fault that Asuka needed a tag partner? Was it my fault that my father showed up on Legends Night and acted like a fool? Was it my fault that Lacey Evans got pregnant and she couldn't kick her ass? She even challenged Asuka, but Asuka never responded, and Rhea Ripley the Snake stepped in, and I never finished that sentence there. And
it's all right.
Rapid fire on
come on. If anyone calls you out, that's stupid.
There are stupid people out there.
Yeah, they are.
But she's saying like, she went over all the women that were on the on the WrestleMania card that weekend, and some of them were like, they shouldn't have been on.
Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, Tamina Snuka, the Riot Squad. Like, it's not WrestleMania worthy stuff, But she says none of them compare to her. She realized for the first time since signing her contract that she doesn't steal opportunities. She is the opportunity. And to all the delusional fans at home that think she steals opportunities from their favorites, She creates the opportunities. This new Charlotte Flair that will not apologize for being good. You can all bow down to her, the 13-time champion. Humbled Charlotte is gone. And it was by far the best promo I've ever heard Charlotte Flair cut. By far.
She's amazing. I've said this before, but I feel like with her, she's at the level of the men. She's one of the, I would say for me personally, like top 3 of my favorite just overall during this time in the company. She's just up there. You know, she can cut a good promo. Obviously, she's amazing in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
This just proved once again that why, and she said it in a promo of why she is chosen to really lead this company because of
lead the division at least.
The division because of who she is. And she's not just so because she's, you know, Ric Flair's daughter. She's proven herself to be a worthy individual to hold this stature of just like, yeah, I'm the best.
And she carries the Flair family name well.
Very well. So honestly, it's nice to see her back.
Although, like, you know, this is considered to be a heel turn. I have no clue how you could ever say that Charlotte Flair was a face to begin with.
I never saw it.
I mean, yes, Ric Flair definitely did some heel things, but, you know, when he was just saying, like, I'm just trying to have fun, you know, and, like, you know, and, you know, live a little bit, you know, she was really dressing him down. She made him look like a fool and stuff like that. Stay out of my way. It's like, not exactly feeling the good guy vibes there. You know? Like,
I agree. I think she should at least.
But now she's a heel.
Yes.
Now she was a heel. Now she's a heel.
I think she should always be a heel too. I think it just
her
works.
character is heelish. It's kind of like, you know, the Sasha Banks boss character is like, how could that ever be a face? You know, it's like,
yeah. There's certain individuals that they're good kind of. Charlotte Flair can be a good mix in the sense of, you know, she has heel qualities, but her dominance, you know, you're kind of rooting for her, right? Like there's this weird kind of balance between, like, she's not really a tweener. I'm not gonna call her a tweener, but you know, she is a little bit of, you're like, oh yeah, you're really good and I want to root for you. And then there's like that, like, oh, but you know, obviously you do heel things. So it's that weird combo. I think another person who I can compare it to, I think like Randy Orton to me has always been that kind of guy as well. You know, he's really good, like, in between. You know, he's stronger heel by far, but he also is a type that can be like, oh, okay, yeah,
right,
good for you, dominant,
right,
good
but
heel.
Now this is not good for Rhea Ripley, and we'll talk. I'm gonna explain why in a moment. First, I want to say hello to Jason Campbell. He's watching us on his TV screen tonight. So, Jason,
wow.
Thanks for watching.
Hey.
All right. So Rhea Ripley and Asuka had a rematch from from WrestleMania 37 last night, where Rhea Ripley beat her for the Raw Women's Championship. This match, wow. They were not in sync whatsoever tonight at all. The start of the match was just okay. And then it fell apart something fierce. Like, Asuka went for a missile drop kick that it was clear that Rhea Ripley was supposed to, like, cut her off and put her in the I forget what the hell it's called, the prism shift or whatever her submission is. Yeah. Prism trap, I think it's called. Yeah, prism shift. I was right the first time. I wrote it down too. So she was supposed to put her in the prism shift right there, but I guess she wasn't expecting Asuka to jump at that time, or she just forgot the spot.
Yeah.
But Asuka, you know, who sent her flying with a missile dropkick earlier, goes for missile dropkick and hits her, and Rhea just stands there. So that looked horrible. And then she picks her up and puts her in the prism shift. Asuka gets to the ropes, so she slams her down on her face. Mm-hmm. And that was like, okay, well, that was a shit moment in the match. They can make up for it. So Rhea Ripley goes for an electric chair. I've never seen this before. She goes to lift her up and doesn't even get Asuka off her feet. Just falls back, and Asuka falls over her. I was like, oh boy.
Facepalm, if I've ever seen it.
God.
Yeah. Yep.
And then Rhea tries again, struggles to get Asuka up in the electric chair, and the announcers are talking about, look at the power of Rhea Ripley. And I'm like, Asuka's not that big.
No.
Like,
no.
What the
If
hell?
it was like Nia Jax, okay.
Right,
but...
right. Well, if you're struggling to get Nia Jax up, it's like, what? But then she switches her, puts her on the shoulder, and then Asuka was supposed to hit like a snap crucifix bomb and kind of slam Ripley. Instead, Ripley didn't get enough rotation, and it turned into a Samoan drop, and they're just laying there now. And it was like, this was miserable.
Yeah.
Finally, Charlotte Flair comes out. Charlotte Flair, who did her promo in high heels, comes out and is big booting everybody with her bare foot. It's like, oh my God, thank God for Charlotte Flair. To me, that was a face turn now because she ended this fucking debacle. This was just a travesty. So Rhea Ripley had a horrendous showing in her first Raw Women's title match defense. And Charlotte Flair cutting that promo and Charlotte Flair calling Rhea Ripley a snake. If it's Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania Backlash, or if it's Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley versus Asuka at WrestleMania Backlash, I have no clue. If Charlotte can continue the momentum that she started with that promo, I have no clue how Rhea Ripley keeps that title. And really, Charlotte's the one that Rhea should have beat in the first place because she needs to get her win back from Charlotte, and now she's never going to get it.
Yeah.
I don't see it coming.
I know.
I don't see Charlotte giving her a win back after that.
You know, you talked about how you don't get many opportunities to get a first impression, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they've kind of botched the whole thing with Rhea Ripley from, last year. And again, certain circumstances, unfortunately, they couldn't, just happen, and you can't take control of that. But at the same time, though, I just don't see how they're going to turn this around with her. I really don't. It really does upset me because I'm telling you, I say this a lot, but I feel like when I first saw Rhea Ripley in NXT, I really saw something special about her. I'm like, there was something, she had a unique look, style, and it even evolved over her time in NXT.
Right.
And she had a good, I thought she had a good ability in the ring, and she just seemed to have some sort of qualities about her that I'm like, you know what? She really could be something great in the company and a good hand for the company. And I was genuinely excited to have her on the main roster, even though they botch a lot of these newbies a lot of the times when they do come up. But this really just it hurt me because I do feel like there was so much potential, but Charlotte Flair is just so many. They're not even the same stratosphere.
Well,
They're
not after that promo.
And it's like, again, realistically now, can you make Rhea Ripley win against her if she is in that match? I don't think you
or
can.
should you? But there's no logic in how they book things anymore. But
who knows what they're going to do? But it's really just a shame because she's going to become one of those individuals like she's just going to be there.
Hopefully not. I mean,
I
we'll
hope
see.
so, but
we'll
I don't know. I don't have high hopes.
I thought the match was okay last night at WrestleMania. I didn't think it was great, and in fact, I thought it was a little too slow paced and just didn't really feel like there was any urgency there. So I guess in the long run, I didn't think the match was that great with Asuka and Rhea Ripley last night. But tonight on Raw,
they didn't have a good chemistry at all, though.
They had nothing.
They had nothing.
It's
just surprising.
It's maybe one of the worst matches I've ever seen Asuka have, and it's definitely the worst match I've ever seen Rhea Ripley have.
So I have a question for you, though. Now with Asuka, I find her to have a lot of in-ring chemistry with people. Whose fault do you think it was tonight? Do you think it was mostly like what blame would you put on what in terms of these women in the match for not going great?
They just sucked. Both of them just stunk.
You give equal.
Well, Rhea Ripley definitely forgot that spot, and it started unraveling everything. I think it was rookie nerves. She missed that spot on the missile drop kick. And it looked bad, and she was trying to make up for it. Kind of lost her footing there. Didn't really get the proper squat underneath Asuka to go for the electric chair, and then didn't get the jump, and it was a mess. It was just a mess.
Okay.
I think she just the nerves did her in. The nerves did her in.
Okay.
So
fair enough.
But it was bad. It was very, very bad.
Fair enough.
And so we have backstage, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are laughing at Mandy Rose slipping on the ramp at WrestleMania. So Mandy Rose comes up and slaps Nia Jax, and Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose slam Jax into the wall and walk off. So Mandy Rose slipped on the ramp at WrestleMania on Saturday night because it was raining and the ramp was slippery. And they're going to turn that now into the Titus World Slide thing, it looks like.
Yeah.
They had Nia Jax later on. We had Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler face Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke for the 750,000th time in 2021. And they had Nia Jax now slipping everywhere. So it's like they're gonna beat this into the ground until, like, it was kind of like, oh, I feel bad for Mandy, but it was kind of funny to, that she tripped. It's like, whatever.
Yeah, she was a good sport about it.
Like crap happens, whatever.
Yeah.
What can you do?
And she was.
They're gonna beat this into smithereens, like they did with Titus O'Neil when he slipped at the greatest Royal Rumble of all time.
God, it's so stupid.
It's so bad. And it's like, oh, and how about this? Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, double teamed Nia Jax, obviously, so they weren't afraid to do that. But when Nia slipped, they're like, the face team runs away. Like, oh, I don't want any of Nia Jax now. I'm too afraid of her. She's actually fired up and mad. They made Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. I mean, they look horrible anyway, but they're just a terrible team. But they made them look even worse now just by walking away and taking a count-out loss to the tag team champions. Like, what are we doing here? This women's division is just a mess.
Here's why, again,
an absolute mess.
Here's again why I get upset when I look at the division. Mandy Rose, to me, I like to say that we saw her from the beginning because we watched Tough Enough that year,
yes,
right? And
indeed,
she did well. You know what I mean? She was third, I think. She came up third or whatever.
I thought she was the runner-up.
Oh yeah, the runner-up. But she did well, and when she came in, she started out, her feet in the water, was like learning the business and trying to figure things out, but then she got paired up with Sonya Deville. They had a great, again, they were a good tag team. They were good, and then she had the whole thing with Otis, and I saw again a lot of potential in her as well.
Mm-hmm.
I really did. I think Rhea Ripley actually is better in the ring. Just. She was.
Right.
But anyways, Mandy Rose, to me, again, I'm like, wow, like, even though, like, she's an attractive girl, she's whatever, I think she has a lot, I think she's really starting to like the business and learn a lot about it,
Well, she's so defeated from this, like the Otis thing where she was actually, like, getting over as a singles character, and then the Sonya Deville thing. And
but that's what I'm saying. I feel like
she's defeated. I don't sense any passion from her right now.
No, and I agree with you. But I feel bad about it, and I know it's one of those things you kind of just have to plug along and continue your passion no matter what. Even if you have the crummiest storyline, which obviously she's in a very, very horrible like tag team, and she's just giving the worst thing ever right now. But I feel bad. I do. I feel bad because this division is just so, it's hard. I mean, I think it's hard for any of them to have passion. Like, to be honest with you, I'm surprised that even someone like Charlotte Flair is able to come on and cut an amazing promo like that tonight, because realistically, like, again, who are you facing? Who in this division is she really going to have this feud with?
I don't know.
That's at her caliber.
I don't know. I also don't know if we ever said hello to Michonne Walls tonight.
Oh, hey.
We say hello to Michonne Walls. Hello. All right. So, a mess. And speaking of messes, the Alexa Bliss thing. So, she explained why she turned on The Fiend last night at WrestleMania and cost him the match against Randy Orton. Again, The Fiend got burned alive.
Yep.
Burned to death.
Yep.
Comes back totally clean of any burns for WrestleMania, because whatever, and loses to an RKO.
Yeah.
Right.
That, I don't know. That makes sense to me.
It's like, well, I couldn't kill you, so I'm going to drop you with my finisher. Crazy. So she says, once upon a time, there was a little girl that was lost until she was rescued by the darkness. The darkness protected, nurtured, and taught her. Then the darkness went away, and that little girl wondered if she ever needed the darkness at all. How did it make her feel when she realized she could do everything on her own? Was the darkness helping her or standing in her way? Why else would she use what she was taught to try to destroy the darkness? The female of the species is the deadliest, and along the way, she unlocked something truly evil. And then she showcases a puppet named Lily.
Lily.
I think they watch the show. They have to have watched the show.
They have to watch the show.
Because Liliana is the little fiend by far. And
Lily.
It's like, yeah, there she is. That's Liliana sleeping. They showcase this puppet, this brand new puppet, Lily. And it's like a voodoo doll of like mix of like Alexa Bliss and like the Fiend. Oop, I can't show you right now. Hold on one second. Let me fix that up. But what did you think of that?
I mean, I like the name.
The name is cute.
The name is cute. This whole idea though of continuing with this magical thing, no, not really. It's just not. Listen, I am not totally against certain things where it's a little like out there. I'm not, you know what I mean? I think crazy characters are almost a necessity. I think there should be more characters that are kind of out there and, you know, bring forth something that is different and unique and things like that. And even in the, you know, with Bray Wyatt in the beginning, I was like, wow, like this is cool. It's a cool character. Like this is something that I'm interested in.
It was cool because it got over organically and WWE was like, oh my God, people like it.
Yes.
Let's give it the treatment.
Right? But I'm not against, you know, again, I'm not against that because there are characters out in this company that have done really well with this like far concept, right?
Sure.
This though is just too out there. It's too out there. The sustainability of it is not going to last because, you know, you are going to get fans back in.
They had fans.
And
imagine having people back for the first time in 1 year, 1 month, and 1 day. And they're booing. They're showing their displeasure towards this character and this storyline. And so you finally got some real, true feedback from a live crowd that turned on this. And they've been hemorrhaging viewers, and you can blame the pandemic, you know, for a lot. You know, you can blame TV ratings, but still, they lost more than the average TV show has lost.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And now they're going to double down on more.
Right.
Now we're going to have 2 Fiend characters.
Right.
They're going to have 2 Fiend characters.
And I just think someone like Alexa Bliss deserves more than this. Like she's the type of individual like who is pouring out everything to make this work, you know, and her delivery of it is great.
Mm-hmm.
And again, in theory, it's great. Like what she's doing is great work. Her acting
but it's not wrestling.
It's not wrestling and it's not sustainable because if they were doing this in where they didn't bring fans back and they had a cinematic, if they were kind of continuing with this whole like cinematic idea, again, temporarily for now until, you know, fans are coming back consistently. Okay, fine. You know what? Like do that. You do you. But now when you have, you know, the potential of like in the fall fans coming back and the reception that you received, you know, from the crowd not really being into it.
Right.
You got that feedback. There's the proof now. There's the evidence that it's really not going over very well. Like, why are you, like you said, why are you doubling down on it? You know what I mean? So, their answer is to give more instead of like, let's pull back a little bit.
In the meantime, in the interim, of course, like, you know, when the Fiend first debuted, it was like, that was pretty cool. I am interested to see what they do with Alexa Bliss. I hope it works out for her. And if Rhea Ripley can somehow get past Charlotte Flair, she's going to be in for a rude surprise when Alexa Bliss starts, you know, getting back in the women's division here, because Alexa Bliss is going to be the champion, and she's going to be the champion for a while. when they finally get that going there.
I think Alexa Bliss, though, she's doing an amazing job with it. It's just not for this. That's, you know what I mean?
Well, it's just not wrestling. So it's like they're doing a great job. I'm not discounting that the acting is interesting and spot on.
Oh, her acting's perfect.
And they're all giving it their best effort, but it's not made for wrestling. It just is not. It is not. Daniel Shell saying that when Gothy Alexa showed up at WrestleMania, they did chant "Holy shit," but soon after the crowd was booing the entire spectacle.
You know, Alexa Bliss might get a little bit more of a positive reaction just because it's Alexa Bliss. People just like her,
right?
You know, so we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens, but I am interested to see what they do with that, and I do really dig the Lily character.
We're gonna have to get her that toy.
And somehow Daniel Shell's right. Also, Randy Orton is free from this for now until they decide they have no ideas for Orton, and have him go back to the Fiend next week. So we'll see what happens. We'll see. We got Miz and John Morrison in the ring with Maurice as the special guest on Miz TV because they're promoting Miz and Mrs., which premiered after Raw. Morrison wants to be part of the show, and they think it can be called Miz, Mrs., and Morrison. It'd be called MMM. So that was that. Damian Priest comes out to the stage. Well, Miz first puts over how he made Bad Bunny a WWE superstar and shows highlights of the match, showing him how his technical prowess was, all created by the Miz. Damian Priest comes out, and I'm immediately trying not to fall asleep. He says, I'm not going to take credit for what Bad Bunny did. He was I was his partner. Bad Bunny put the work in, and Miz correctly asks the question, hey, where was your name in the headlines at all? Like my name was there with Bad Bunny. Where were you? You're only out here because you're jealous. Priest was upstage at WrestleMania by his so-called friend. And he was right. Damian Priest was a total and complete afterthought coming out of that match.
He was furniture.
In fact, I completely forgot that he was part of the match. All I kept talking about was Bad Bunny and Miz all weekend. It's I totally forgot Damian Priest was there.
I remember Morrison was there too.
So the whole entire idea of the Bad Bunny thing, yes, the Bad Bunny thing is to obviously get people watching. You bring a celebrity in because you want to get them watching, but you also put a celebrity with somebody to turn that into a vehicle for the person that's going to be there full time to get over. And in this case, it was very much a vehicle designed to get Damian Priest over, right?
Of course. Again.
Instead, he came out as a complete and total afterthought. So the idea for tonight, the idea for tonight should have been, okay, let's get Damian some of that steam back. Let's have him have a dominating performance, and get that heat back that he didn't quite get at WrestleMania, and showcase that he is somebody that we're considering a star. So somehow we get involved in a handicap match with the Miz and John Morrison versus Damian Priest. Miz and Morrison weren't prepared for the match. They were still in their suits and Gucci slippers, and they still beat him. They still yes, Damian Priest was, aggressive throughout, but offense looked bad. Nothing entirely interesting about him at all. And then at the end, he still loses. Are you kidding me?
I know.
Are you kidding?
I know.
I know. What?
I know. It doesn't. The purpose for what it should have been, what should have happened, didn't happen, and then they actually made it worse. They made it worse for him. If they made it where, the Miz and Morrison were taking jabs at him, and they were talking about how oh, you're an afterthought, this, that, and the other thing, where was your name in the headlines and everything else, and then he turned it around and he won against them, and he looked extremely dominant, and then attacked them in full force and drew the attention back towards himself, and then said something along the lines of hey, who gonna be talking about now? I just beat the two of you. You know what I mean? Getting in this face after, in their faces after, and being who's the afterthought now? Who's this guy? It should have been where he looks like he's on top.
Right.
Instead, anything that Miz and Morrison said to him proved to be true.
Absolutely. Absolutely it did. So that was a total...
Are you looking for the Lily character?
Yeah, I'm looking for Lily on season
Mike just went on the merchandise on the WWE shop, and he's looking for the Lily character.
I'm looking for like the Lily stuff down. I'm surprised they didn't just push that out like immediately.
Man, we need that. We definitely need that.
How do they not do that?
Well, she's obsessed with Mercy, so I'd be very curious to see how she reacts to Lily.
No Lily yet, but
no Lily
I'm
yet.
sure Lily's coming.
Lily's got to be coming.
So
Get on
anyway,
that, WWE.
So anyway, Andrew Elder correctly saying that Damian Priest did have some back issues. That's why he didn't wrestle a lot, in the weeks leading up to it. But I'm sorry, he was cleared ahead of WrestleMania. It was touch and go whether he'd be cleared or not, but he was cleared.
Right.
And if you're on WrestleMania and you have back issues, you have to give a WrestleMania quality performance. You just do. Damn the pain, damn the consequences, save that for later. You have to put out a good performance, and he did not. It was dull. It was boring.
But you also have to, especially when he's in a situation where he's given an opportunity where he's with, again, one of the big, I'm so sorry. He's with one of the biggest, arguably one of the most international superstars of like right now, the biggest stars right now.
Yes.
You really have to be 10 times more on your game than the most, because all eyes are on you. They are.
Absolutely.
You're still trying to find this Lily toy.
I'm
if anyone finds it, send the link to us.
Right.
Okay? The Lily toy.
We'll figure it out. Tyler Upson asking if is that why it was a singles match at first? It might have been. It might have been that's why it was a singles match at first, because Damian Priest was injured.
Yeah.
But I mean, that Raw that the go home show to WrestleMania was taped the Tuesday before, so he was cleared almost 2 full weeks before WrestleMania. Otherwise, they wouldn't have had him do that promo, making it a tag team match.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, like the back injury is it's an excuse, and they still beat him anyway. So he's just, to me, completely uninteresting.
Yeah.
I am not into the Damian. I wasn't into him on NXT. I said everything that was going to happen to this guy is happening right now.
Yeah.
He's not going to cut it.
You did.
Not going to cut it. We have MVP in the ring. He's talking about like Bobby Lashley was supposed to address the WWE Universe, and then he didn't want to. He said he didn't want to be disrespected or whatever. That's okay. No Bobby Lashley for the rest of the night. I'm it's almost like I was wondering, like, how did he get injured? He didn't have any offense given to him. Like in the Riddle match, he didn't do anything. Anyway,
he probably just left. I'm not even joking. He probably left after that.
Yeah, I know.
His match.
Anyway, MVP says, kind of like makes fun of Drew McIntyre about passing out. Drew McIntyre comes out and says he's going to, he hopes that MVP continues to inflate the ego of Bobby Lashley, because it'll be even better when he Claymore kicks his head off the next time they face, and he'll be WWE champion. Then Braun Strowman comes out and says, oh, I'm going to be WWE champion. And Randy Orton comes out, and I want to be WWE champion. So Adam Pearce comes out and says, okay, you all want to be WWE champion? Have a triple threat match tonight. The winner faces Bobby Lashley for the title at WrestleMania Backlash in May. Okay. So that sounded good. Randy Orton, Braun Strowman, and Drew McIntyre. I can sign up for that.
I can sign up for that, too.
I can sign up for that easily. We have Elias and Jackson Riker in the ring. The New Day come out and cut him off from doing a song. This was just a time-wasting nothing promo. They were making fun of Elias and Jackson Riker for being beat by Braun Strowman last Monday on Raw. It's something I didn't even remember happening. Like, they were like, "Oh, you disgraced the tag team division by losing to one guy last week," and then they go, "Yeah, but you lost to Amos, one guy at WrestleMania. So who's embarrassing?" I was like, "Yeah, he's right.
Yeah. Yep.
What the hell?"
Yep.
Elias and Jackson Riker versus the New Day. Elias and Riker, tonight they went out of their way to try to establish them as a real tag team, and they actually had some, it was not a bad back and forth match. I did not dislike the match.
No, I didn't hate it.
The New Day got the win because they should have. They lost the title, so they should get the win back. But Elias and Riker looked like a good tag team for the first time ever.
Yeah.
Since they've been together since November.
Mm-hmm. And
It's the
good,
first night.
you know, it's good for them too, especially because, well, especially somebody like Elias, you know what I mean? He has to have something going for him. You know, he has to try to gain some momentum in any capacity. So this was kind of a good move, and hopefully it continues to do well.
I agree. We had the return of the Firefly Funhouse. We saw Mercy the Buzzard, Huskus the Pig, Abby the Witch, and Ramblin' Rabbit. Bray Wyatt, who was murdered months ago. Before TLC, he was murdered.
I don't mean to laugh. Murder's not funny.
No, that's true. But it's true, though. We haven't seen him since 2020, the Bray Wyatt character in the Firefly Funhouse.
Man.
He was killed to indicate that The Fiend and Bray Wyatt are actually not just alternate personalities, but they're actually two separate individuals. Whatever. Stupid. And he said something about, like, witches be wildin' because Abby was like, I couldn't stand that little bitch and blah, 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 and F that. So, and then Ramblin' Rabbit says he'll miss Alexa Bliss, so Wyatt grabs him and then gives him a kiss, because usually Wyatt just kills the Ramblin' Rabbit. So then he goes into this whole thing where he's a gospel pastor and, I'll be reborn. I'm going to heal you. I'll heal you. And I'm no more clout chasing this simulation. The fun house will be big, bad, and strong. And it's like, okay, is he going for the title now? Oh, that would suck. That would not be any. But I don't know what you do with Bray Wyatt. In fact, there was a couple people where it's like, what do you do with them following the show? Like, what's their next rivalry?
Yeah,
it's almost like, like 2 years ago, we'd be gearing up for the Superstar Shakeup, and then they got rid of that when they did the WWE draft, in October.
Right.
But it's almost like these rosters are so stagnant, and the WWE draft was just a BS spectacle that just took everybody and just switched them to different shows. So it's like you're getting the same exact matchups, but just on different shows. There was hardly anybody that was switched that could have unique matches with anybody, or that didn't get switched with the person they were having a rivalry with to begin with. So it's almost like they're gearing up for, like, I would take a mini Superstar shakeup. Just take some main event talent and move them to SmackDown and move them to Raw. Take, Randy Orton, put him on SmackDown, and in return, bring Edge to Raw, or Daniel Bryan to Raw. Just switch them. Just take 4 guys.
Yeah, just
four
do,
guys.
Yeah, just do a little
and 4
shake-up.
women.
Yeah.
And just switch them. You don't have to do an entire roster. It doesn't need to be like a 3-night event where it's like, okay, we're going to give you a list of 25 people that are moving. No, because 25 people are just about all you can fit on TV every week.
No, just a few people.
So you can't have unique matchups with that. Mm-hmm. You'd be having more of the same.
Yeah.
So just pick your top 5.
Yes.
Even the top 5. Just say we're 5 picks for Raw, 5 picks for SmackDown, and switch them.
Yeah. I would
get some infusion in there.
Yeah, I would
infusion
honestly,
of new talent.
That would be something I could definitely get behind. Not doing a whole roster shakeup, because, like you said, it would just wind up being the same thing, just on different shows. But doing a few people just would shake things up a little bit, but not rattling the entire roster, where you're getting new things, but you're also getting some of the old stuff too, where it's a little bit more consistent, but you're getting some infusion of the new stuff. Yeah, right. I would agree with that.
Right. So then we get our triple threat main event after that. Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman, and Randy Orton. It was good. It was good while it lasted. Of course. They did, the Braun Strowman did his Strowman Express shoulder tackle outside. They did away with the stupid train sound effects, which I have no idea why they thought that would be a good idea to begin with, but they did away with that, so no more train sound effects. I think they realized they were being too cute for their own good. It was good. Mostly, it was typical triple threat where it's 2 guys in the ring, 1 guy outside taking a powder, and then, then they switch places and get back in the ring and stuff like that. Orton hits Strowman with an RKO at the end of it. Orton covers, but McIntyre comes in, hits Orton with a Claymore kick, and covers Orton for the win. Mm-hmm. So Drew McIntyre will face Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania Backlash on May 16th. After this, MVP comes out to the stage, and Drew McIntyre is given a double chokeslam from T-Bar and Mace, formerly of Retribution, and that's how they end the show. So again, like I don't see Drew McIntyre beating Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania Backlash, especially when you have all these people that could potentially interfere in that match. Whatever. It's like I'm tired. Like the interference is like it's becoming systemic again, where it's like there's too much interference in these matches. But T-Bar and Mace, they got rid of Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin to replace him with T-Bar and Mace, two guys that were attached to a stable that was so bad it might go down as one of the worst stables WWE's ever tried to do. And a stable that the Hurt Business routine, including Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander, routinely kicked the crap out of week in and week out. I don't think Retribution ever got a win over the Hurt Business. So it's addition by subtraction. Just from a logical standpoint, why would MVP ever associate with two guys that they just crushed constantly? And look what they're doing with Shelton and Cedric, two talents. Like Shelton Benjamin completely reinvented himself. He was the veteran of that group, and he was the steady hand there. Cedric Alexander was the young guy up and coming that could have been something. Instead, they're jobbing to the Viking Raiders on their return. They couldn't find another tag team to do that with. And we have friggin' T-Bar and Mace. T-Bar has talent. Mace, from what I saw, has none. Replacing Cedric and Shelton. Are you kidding me?
The whole point of...
And I'm sorry. And the last thing was Bobby Lashley said he kicked them out, Shelton and Cedric, to begin with, because they were interfering in matches. And he said, I don't need you to interfere in the matches. That's the point. I'm the champion. I'm Bobby Lashley. I'm the almighty. You don't need to interfere for me.
I was just going to say that.
So you replace him with bigger guys that can absolutely interfere?
That last point is exactly what I was going to say. In terms of the whole point of breaking up the Hurt Business was to have Bobby Lashley be alone in his stature, as establish his dominance. He could do it on his own. He doesn't need anybody interfering with his matches. He can do it by himself, and he wants to establish that on his own.
Right.
So now you're coming in. First of all, Hurt Business was a solid stable. They really were like on a really good path, a good trajectory. They were doing really well together, a really good chemistry. They made sense. They all served a purpose in the stable. And then now you're replacing two individuals who are really good. Really, really good. A lot of potential again, especially for Cedric Alexander, with two individuals who have shown nothing but...
Well, they're part of a failed stable. The stink.
And it was just recently too. It's not like you could say, "Oh, this Retribution died a year ago," right? And it's like, okay, now they're coming back like a year later.
Right.
This was only like how long ago that Retribution?
A month.
Right.
A month.
So that's still embedded in your mind as far as like, okay, these two guys, you know who they are. They were on TV weekly and they doing the whatever, and they were part of this stupid friggin' stable. So now you're having them come in? What is wrong with you?
Makes no sense.
It's just like they laid it out on the table of what should have taken place, and they just did the complete opposite. They were just like, okay, let's just do every thing that just isn't logical. Because there's certain things that, they're not logical, but like you can kind of forget about it within a week or two. This is something that if they continue with this is just stupid. Like you almost want to like have MVP come out next week and be like, why? Like these guys never defeated the individuals who you were with. Lashley also said he doesn't really want anybody interfering. Like, what is wrong with you?
Right.
Like, seriously. I don't want to see those two anywhere near any of Lashley's matches. Like, and well, that's another question I was going to ask you real quick. Do you think like they'll be part of the Hurt Business and just like separate from Bobby Lashley? Or do you think they're going to actually interfere in his matches at some point?
Who knows? MVP was standing on the stage and just watching all this happen like he orchestrated it. there are some idiots that are already saying, well, let it play out, just like the whole Fiend
Like what?
thing. It's
what play out for
like,
what?
play
It
out?
doesn't make any sense at all.
It sucks and it's stupid. It's like, yeah, they can find a cute little explanation to explain their way out of this next week.
I don't see how, but
they'll figure it out.
They'll figure it out, but I don't see how.
They'll figure out some stupid thing, and everybody will be like, "Oh, see, they had an idea," and it's really not.
No,
they just were like, "Okay, what are we doing with these two guys? Okay, let's put them with MVP." And that's it. And then it's like, oh, well, weren't they like feuding with the Hurt Business? And didn't we book them to never have a win against the Hurt Business? Yeah, we'll explain it later. And we'll figure it out next week. But for tonight, this is what we're going to do. Dumb. Just short-sighted, dumb. And it just goes to show you that their booking has no...
I don't want to see them anywhere near a match, though. But obviously...
They will, obviously.
But they will, because it's a foreshadowing tonight of, obviously, they got involved in the triple threat match for whatever freaking reason. So it's like...
The whole thing is just stupid. And,
really dumb.
It's like
really dumb.
You have a young guy and Cedric... They don't have young stars. Cedric Alexander could have been... was turning into something. He had the confidence. His promos were really fiery.
They were really good together.
They were the tag team champions just like a month and a half ago.
A
month ago even.
But they were really good together, just as a stable in general. They each served a purpose in the stable.
Right. It just very stupid. So just short-sighted. A really lame end to this Raw. Honestly, after like the first half hour, this felt like a business as usual Raw. It's just like, well, enjoy. We're back to normal.
Back to your regular scheduled programming
and guess
stupid
what?
And illogical things that happen.
And guess what? No fans until at best the fall. Maybe they'll do something for SummerSlam, but for sure, no talk of touring until at least the fall. I personally don't think they'll start touring until after Royal Rumble. Probably. I don't see them touring until. Starting, until next year's, until 2022.
Yeah. So like you said,
So we're in another long slog of these Thunderdome shows with no fans and Vince pressing the cheer and boo button and no.
I can just imagine him sitting there like,
cheer,
boo, cheer,
and nobody to hold him accountable. Surrounded himself in a bubble of yes men that are more interested in keeping their jobs than putting out a competent product is what it is. We're in for a long haul. As much as I was hoping for a reset for tonight, it got anything but. We got the exact same show that we've been watching. What did everybody think of this show? Chat room, let us know what you think. 88% give this show a thumbs down.
Can I tell you what I
Twitter.
thought?
Thumbs down. 88%. If that maintains, it was at 90%. In fact, when I put the poll up, the first 40 votes on this, it was 100% thumbs down. 40 people in a row pressed thumbs down. That's statistically like low for happening, on a show.
I tell you what I think.
Let me know what you think. Chat room, I want to know what you think as well.
I give it a double thumbs down. If I could vote twice, I would.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. I'm gonna start making fake
can we just make like fake accounts on Twitter just to give thumbs down?
Yeah, I have to say, this was an easy thumbs down. I love the Charlotte promo,
but it's not enough.
Pretty much hated everything else. Even the triple threat match, it was good, but did we really need that New Day Elias Jackson Riker promo? We needed that. We couldn't have cut that, or we couldn't have cut one of the video packages they showed. We couldn't have cut Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke versus Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler for the 950,000th time. We couldn't have cut that to give an extra 5 minutes to a triple threat match that's going to determine the number one contender. Really? Come on. Chat room. Thumbs down. Thumbs so far down they broke hitting the concrete from Goosey.
Ooh.
I'm actually curious to see if Goosey actually watched this show, because he's cleansed himself of WWE. And he did watch WrestleMania, and it was painful for him to admit that night one was good. I want to know if Goosey actually watched the entire episode of Raw.
And I want to know if Nafise watched it too.
I want to.
Nafise was taking a break as well.
Nafise is on a total cleanse of wrestling. We are his wrestling lifeline right now. Andrew Elder gives it a thumbs typical. Billy Hefner, way down.
Uncle Billy, I agree.
Mr. V, I did not watch, but from your review, it is a thumbs down. Wow. More than slightly thumbs down from Ashun Walls.
Yes.
Siskel and Ebert even gave it 2 thumbs down, and they're not here anymore. That's what Eric Sims says. They ain't around anymore.
Oh God.
Thumbs down for ruining Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander's careers from Daniel Schell. I agree with that 100%, Daniel. I give it a thumbs down for the Riley botches and Mandy Nia nonsense. That's I Am Alpha. 1 million thumbs down from Quentin Walters.
Quentin is just, I love it.
Jorge Oliva, thumbs up for the wrestling, but way down for the storylines and promos, except for Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, Goosey did actually watch the show.
Wow, Goosey.
Wow. Good for you.
Oh, man.
I will always watch WrestleMania week. The rest of the year, not so much.
Not so much.
There you go.
There you go.
Quentin saying it's time to boycott Raw, but don't boycott the post-Raw show.
Yeah, don't ever
boycott the post-Raw show. Nafis, only here for the social interaction, but I get free Peacock, so I watch WrestleMania. Okay, good for you.
No, Nafis, I get it.
Nafis goes, but I'll say thumbs so far down my throat. Andrew wants to set Raw on fire.
Oh, the Wrestleview fiend.
Yep. Daniel Schell says an extra thumbs down for turning the Mandy Rose slip into a meme. Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Well, we think
still on my list, Daniel.
So next week I have to go through the show last week and see what bets we need to pay off on. But to keep you coming back next week on the post Raw show,
pie.
There will be pie. The WrestleMania bets that we made will come.
Yeah, we didn't have any pie, so we're like, oh. But you know what? We have to look back because we didn't really know. We're like,
I should have written it down.
Yes.
I know for a fact that I said that I will take a pie if Charlotte Flair doesn't appear on WrestleMania, but I don't know if I have to pay that one off because Charlotte was on the stage when Vince did his speech.
Oh, you're paying it. You're paying it off.
She was technically at WrestleMania.
You're paying it off. You'll pay off something. Either way, there's gonna be pie involved.
Andrew wants me to get slimed like Shane did to Braun
You know what?
Strowman. The slime never ever paid off in that storyline. Nobody even. No. Okay, so Jorge is saying we each get a pie for what happened.
Okay, but we have to do like a double pie though for any other bets that we had.
Fine.
Andrew, I have I make slime all the time with my kids for science class. So
you're not sliming me. I'm not getting slimed. But next week we will pay that off. We will get the Goosey wants us to use pumpkin pie.
I'm thinking like a good apple pie.
Oh, I don't want to waste an apple pie. I like a chocolate pie or something like that.
Can we get like a lemon pie? I don't really like lemon.
I don't like lemon either. So yeah, we could do that. Key lime pie. I'll take a key lime.
But
pie.
I don't like key lime.
I don't care what you like. I'm talking about for me. God, it's always about you.
Really? It's always about me? Please get over yourself.
Mr. V thanks us for keeping the curtains past WrestleMania.
I want.
Well, no, we actually have a consultant coming to talk about getting new blinds this week. So hopefully we'll be on the move of getting some custom blinds. We're hoping to have them sold for May.
I really think this is what we should do. I think we should throw a party on the post Raw show and rip the curtains. What do you think?
That would be great. Yeah, once we replace the curtains, we're
gonna throw a party. We're gonna rip them.
We're gonna well, actually, we'll do the show outside and throw them into the fire pit. But
they might come back though.
We'll burn them.
Because Bray Wyatt came back after a burn.
That's true.
So we'll have to have Randy Orton RKO them.
It's not even guaranteed that if you burn something that it goes away forever.
We'll just have Randy Orton come in and just do what he can do. He did it with Bray Wyatt. Why not?
This is true. So next week, the pies get paid off. Victoria's ripping the curtains right now.
I'll save it for when it happens.
And we'll see you then. For Friday, make sure you check out the post-SmackDown show with Mr. Roy Nemmer, the SmackDown post show. Make sure you check that out. On Sunday, you'll have Wrestleview Weekly with Doug Lackey, who is going to be on, no question about it, a WrestleMania hangover. And on Monday, for post-Raw number 123 or 124, if you think about last year's Raw after WrestleMania, technically we're at 124 shows. There will be pie. There will be pie. So next week, we'll see you there. Everybody, I'm Mike Tedesco.
I'm Victoria Tedesco.
Editor-in-Chief, Wrestleview.com. That's Victoria. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. Ciao.